Today we are breaking away from the normal dividend content and talking about 3D Capital, which is like a penny stock ETF. So this has been really, really interesting. I've been doing a bunch of research into this company. I do own it. I'll be very transparent with you guys. I do own it. And so we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of this and going over the team, what they're trying to do, the vision, and a whole sort of other things that I have on my list just to explore because there's so much that goes into this small company. So that being said, if you guys like dividend content, ETF content, if you like making money and making passive income, then you're in the right place. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and let's roll the intro. As I always like to do, I'm looking at the price chart for 3D, ticker IDKFF. This one is an OTC stock, and it's such a small penny stock. We're looking at 11.45 million in market cap. Very, very small. 52-week high of $64 and a 52-week low of 15 cents. We're nearing the low. So we have seen it drop from 15 to 18 and back down to 15 where it sits currently. I did pick up some shares at about I think it was the 16 or 17 cent range. So I do own this stock. And I'll be fully transparent. I put, I think, $490 into this stock at that price. So I have a small position. It's definitely nothing crazy, but I did talk with some of the leaders at this company, and I think the potential is there. Now, to be fully transparent, this is a sponsored video. So in working with 3D Capital, they paid me to put out a full video showing you guys all of the good and bad things about this company. And so we're going to do that. We're going to do a full breakdown on what I like, what I don't like, and what I think you guys as typical dividend investors might see with potential when it comes to 3D Capital. And if nothing else, just watch what it does. Let's see how it performs. Like I said, I have skin in the game already, and I'm not planning on selling anytime soon because the potential from what I've discussed with these guys is pretty insane. So all that being said, let's jump back to the website and let's see the team who is leading this company, which is the main reason why I am invested in it, because the management team is insane. Before I dive into the track record of the leadership in this company, I do want to point out that this is more like an ETF than a normal penny stock. I have traded penny stocks. I have traded biotech stocks. I have traded nearly everything under the sun. I was a huge part of the boom when penny stocks were going crazy. I wasn't making content then. I was just an investor. I got burned on a lot of things. I had some success stories, but I've fallen away from trading penny stocks because it's just too risky for me. And so that's the thing, is penny stocks are extremely high risk, typically extremely high reward. And I've had stocks that ran 800% in my portfolio. I have had stocks that have dropped 98% in my portfolio. And that's just the name of the game. But when I look at this company and what they're doing, I see it as being a lot less risky because of how they do things. So looking at the track record of these investors, because that's what they are. They are the chairman, CEO, the director and VP of investments, but they are investors in the company. This is what they do. They build companies. And so looking at what Mr. Inwintosh has done, and Google him, Google his name. Check him out for yourself. Go to the website. Check out all of these other companies that he has worked on because it is pretty crazy, his track record. He doesn't have all wins. He has some losses too, but look at the wins compared to the losses. Look at the number of each. Check into what he has accomplished in his 30 years of investing and get back to me. Let me know your thoughts. I'm curious. I want to know what you guys think if you would ever invest in a penny stock ETF. And so in 1994, he co-founded a company and they exited it in 2001 to Bayer, which is a huge deal. They worked and integrated with a huge company. And there's more stories like that. They have stories of him working with a company, turning the stock price from 10 cents to over $20, stuff like that, where it has just leadership took control and did what it needed to do. And so they have a ton of industries that are just booming right now too, if you think about this. And what I love is that they are in the investment space. You know, Sheldon, like I said, I should call him Mr. Inwintosh, has 30 years of investing experience. I have less than 10. So I do always like gaining knowledge from those who have done things before, and especially those with a positive track record. And I did speak with both Mr. Inwintosh and Jackson, also Mr. Inwintosh, in the format of saying what's the big thing behind 3D? Why should people invest in this? And they gave me a slew of things that I can talk about that I've picked through and I've chosen some of my favorites, some things that I have a background in, some things that I think have crazy potential as all part of 3D. And that's what I've loved about this company so far is it is an accumulation of all these different smaller companies. So I don't have the risk of owning 10 individual small companies. I have one ETF that owns a number of them with someone who has a positive track record of picking investments and working investments himself so that they know what to look for. And so I think it's great. I think Jackson, who I spoke with multiple times in a couple different meetings, gave me a ton of good insights into what they're working on, why it is a big deal, why they're working now to be more known. Because you might wonder, why are they paying people to make videos about them? Well, part of the game when it comes to these kind of stocks is getting your name out there, getting name recognition. You don't want to just pump a stock. You don't want everyone to just talk about it for a second. You want to talk about the longevity and the ability of this company to maintain making money for both the shareholders as well as the company itself. And so that's what I learned from my meetings with them, from our discussions. So I pulled up 3D, one of their presentations. They got a ton of stuff on their website. And I wanted to show, when I say he has a good track record, I mean it. So this is just one example. But 2002 to 2007, Pine Tree Capital, which was under his leadership, here's Sheldon and a photo he took with Warren Buffett. They generated a 150-fold increase in the share price, reaching a $1 billion market cap. Absolutely insane. It's a 15,000% return, which is crazy. But going down, looking more into this company, some things that we talk about with dividends, we talk about NAV a lot. We talk about NAV erosion, which is the opposite of what you want. You want your NAV to increase. It's the value. And so currently they are trading at a discount to their NAV. So we saw the price of 3D is at 15 cents a share. I just Googled their IDKFF stock net asset value. I want to get a full frame of reference for all of them. So we see Yahoo has it at 78 cents. Seeking Alpha, as of December 31, has it at 83 cents. Yahoo Finance has it at 78 cents. We have 3D Capital on Moomoo, which is showing it at 92 cents. So, and then we have 87 cents. So all around that 70 to 90 cent range, which is very, very impressive. Meaning, just because of the assets that they have, they're terribly undervalued. Terribly undervalued. And another thing too, when I look at penny stocks, this is so fun talking about penny stocks. I haven't done it in so long. There's something that you always want. You want them to be invested. You want the owners of the company to have a huge stake in it, because if the company goes crazy and does really well, they do really well. And vice versa. If the company tanks, they lose money. And so management and the board are the largest shareholders. And one thing that I think is so important about this is when you have a company where the shareholders also work at the company, they are going to make decisions that benefit shareholders. And we've seen that. So I'm going to pull up a video from YouTube here, actually, once my cat gets out of the way. And this is Acquisition, and it's a great YouTube channel. Go check it out. But one thing that they're showing here is the insider filings. And so they are buying back so many shares. So we can see all these greens are them buying back shares. The red is not bad either. I'll explain that. But the common shares repurchasing every time. 92,000 worth, 27,000 worth, 28,000, 44,000, 73,000. So they have a track record of purchasing more and more shares of their own. And then we see this big red, which is 644,000. And what this is a share cancellation. So they are purchasing shares, purchasing so many shares, and then also canceling them at the same time to offset. And so this is what drew me in initially, was thinking about a penny stock that pays a dividend. This isn't a dividend, it's just a bonus. So it reminds me of kind of like a special dividend, because you're able to recoup money just from them canceling out and making your shares more valuable. So I thought that this was really interesting, and I like that the way they are doing this. There's so much that goes into these companies, and there's so many benefits to really researching and really understanding it your own. And so what I'm going to do now is, we can see right here, biotech, blockchain, AI, and a number of other things. You can look at those. I'm going to focus on these big three, and we'll talk about some of what this company is doing. They have money in the cancer game, which is crazy. Oncology. Cancer is the leading cause of death worldwide. I have multiple family members that have passed away due to cancer. And so this is something that I've realized, even in my own life, is going to continue to be a major issue. I have family members that were in their 40s that passed away to cancer. So this is not something that's just affecting the older population anymore. This is something that is going to be affecting everybody. And so we can see longevity, technology-based platforms, age-related diseases. And let me tell you, biotech, I used to trade, like I said, I traded biotech all the time. I would purchase biotech stocks that were going to have an FDA approval, and then they'd go crazy. I traded some that did extremely well. I traded some that tanked prior. I only had one that really tanked badly that I lost like 80% on. All the rest, I was making money on vacation with my family as an amateur investor doing this trading strategy because the market loved these stocks at that time. And I really learned the profitability of these things when good news comes out. That's everything. And that goes for penny stocks as well. When good news hits, the stock goes crazy. And so I like 3D because they have the potential to put out good news after good news and work with these kinds of companies that will increase the value of their ETF. I shouldn't say their ETF because it is a company, but it is an ETF. It's kind of a mix-up. We see blockchain. We have Bitcoin hitting all-time highs. All-time highs. And so blockchain as a whole is just a key word that people are loving. You see news about blockchain, it's going to bump it. But we're also realizing now, and I think investors are realizing too, not only with blockchain, but with AI, this is not going anywhere. Maybe we're in a cycle, maybe things slow down. We've seen NVIDIA, we've seen MSTR, we've seen companies in the AI space record break. They've been year over year doubling their money, which is unheard of. You have NVIDIA, which is now, I think, either the largest or one of the largest market cap stocks on the market, working with AI. And it's not going anywhere. And now they're moving into a new market where instead of just making microchips, they're working to maintain this market, to maintain AI. There's a whole slew of new things that are coming in that's going to continue to support AI. And that's what these companies are working in. And so blockchain as well. I think the future of blockchain is insane. And a lot of these, like I said earlier, because 3D owns all of these, I feel a lot better. I don't have to buy individual blockchain penny stocks because I don't know how to pick them. You guys know crypto is not my main source of revenue. It's not my biggest investment by any means. I'm the stock guy. You're on my YouTube channel for stocks. So blockchain and knowing blockchain is not something that I'm good with. So I have a company that has a history of being able to build value and build their assets. And so that's what I like about this one specifically, is it takes a lot of the stress out of my work. I just going to pick one stock / ETF rather than having to go and research all these individual ones. I can have someone that's been investing for 30 plus years that has a great track record, as well as even, other managers that are really phenomenal at what they do it for me. And so there's tons of options on here. I'm not going to do too many things, but I'll point out a few key ones that I'm really interested in watching for the long term. So going through and looking at their highlighted investments, I'm going to scroll down and I want to talk about Tenet, I think is how you pronounce it. And so just look at this stat right here. Oh, I lost it. Never mind. Don't look at it. There's so many things on here. This says 109 trillion of the world's collective wealth is invested in global equity markets. And so you can go through, check out what they want. What the point of this is to get your eyes on this. So you guys check this out for yourselves, because I want to know what you think as well. I've worked on this channel. I appreciate your guys' feedback. So I really, really want to know what you guys think. And so basically, Tenet is using AI to predict earnings. And there's so much that go into this. So yes, you heard that right. Predict like stock earnings. So like, let's say NVIDIA just reported positive earnings. Their I don't know if it's an algorithm, because I don't know AI well either, but their algorithm is set up in a way where they can get this data point before earnings happens. So imagine if you knew NVIDIA was going to have positive earnings and you bought some and you sold it after earnings. Or imagine if you knew a company was going to tank. You could either sell out of the company or sell puts on it and make an insane amount of money. And that's what this is going to try, and that's the accomplishment, That's what they're going for, amongst other things. But that's the thing that immediately, when he said predictive earnings, I was like, wait a minute. This is something that the government may even have to get involved in, because you can't just be predicting earnings for stuff and releasing information, even if it is accurate. Like this is the power of AI. It is industry changing. And so this is just, again, one company that's in their portfolio that I think that if they're able to pull that off, the return, I can't even try and predict what the return could be. So staying on that AI train, we can see Hypercycle, which is securing the internet of AI. And just based off the title, I'm interested because I think, we're looking at stocks like CrowdStrike, like PanW. There are so many online like cybersecurity stocks that are doing so well now because we are more online than we ever have been. And with AI, that market only expands. Imagine companies in 20 years using mostly AI, mostly computers to do their work, to create their products, and not having the security to back it up. Hacking is insane. So just that, that's all I really need to talk about. They have a bunch of interesting stuff, and they have the ability I'm not even going to get into all the details about this, but it's so interesting. And I don't want to talk about it too much because I'm going to get too far into it. But another one, let's talk about AIML, which is AI Health Tech. So now we're in a bit of two industries. You're in AI, and you're also in health. So I love this. This graphic is really cool. You can go on here and look at all of this, but their focus is fusing AI and machine learning into a variety of industries, not limited to just healthcare. But just think of healthcare. Think about how things have changed. Do you remember the stocks that ran like crazy during the pandemic? Like Teladoc, was that one of them? Tdoc was the stock. It was like telehealthcare, where you could talk to a doctor on the phone instead of having to go in. But healthcare, America is one of the most unhealthy first world countries. I believe, yeah, no, it is. It is. We're terrible. Our obesity rates are crazy. A bunch of things are going wrong with our healthcare industry. And so adding AI to this, the potential there it's crazy. There's a few things that I want to talk about that I think could just be booming industries. And this one, Avicanna, driving biopharmaceutical advancement of evidence-based cannabinoid products. If you guys don't know, there's certain words I can't say on YouTube because they might upset the algorithm, but you know what this is. This is working with a specific plant. This plant is insane. People use it pharmaceutically. They use it not pharmaceutically. I don't, but I think the big thing with this is there is so much potential behind what this plant can do. And I think the industry as a whole is just now really beginning to take off because it had such a negative stigma about it for a long time because of how it was used. It was used recreationally. But even being used recreationally, there were some benefits to it that people need to look into. It is a super plant. And so I really, really like that this is one of the options. Like I said, I used to trade biopharmaceutical stuff all the time. And I think it's risky if you don't know what you're looking at. But if you're in a sector that has crazy potential and you have, evidence-based is everything. But that's not even all of it. The next thing I want to talk about, Neurable. This one is so interesting to me. So look at this, products. And you're like, what is this? This is just headphones. This is not. If you guys are familiar with Neuralink, which is not affiliated with this business at all, that's Elon Musk's chip that's going to go into your brain. They're going to actually implant it. I don't know if they've moved on to human testing yet, but I know they had success with testing on animals. This is Neuralink that you can take off. It does the same sort of thing. It has the same functions, monitors brainwaves, does a ton of stuff. And I have a bio background. Biology is my thing. That's my full-time position. And so looking at what they're doing, this is so smart because you know what? Someone like me who's like, you know what? I think Neuralink sounds insane. I think the potential for it to do amazing things in the future is crazy, but I don't want them to put something into my brain. You can take this off whenever you want to. And that is the number one thing that I'm like, wow, why doesn't Elon Musk do something like that? And maybe he will down the line. But until then, until we have that, this is your best option if you don't want anything going on with the brain, which I love my brain. You guys might not love my brain all the time, but I love my brain. And so I think that what they're doing makes so much sense. And when I can understand something that makes sense, it makes a better investment, in my opinion. So before I get too sciencey on you guys, I'm looking at Dynex, another investment that they have, which is the blockchain empowering quantum computing. If there's one thing that I know is that all of these keywords like blockchain, AI, all of this kind of stuff that's the market we're in right now. All these companies are doing well. I shouldn't say all of them. Most all the big ones that I've seen are doing really, really well. But what they're working on, what Dynex is working on, is a decentralized network on a distinctive, adaptable blockchain system that harnesses the parallel processing powers of multiple GPUs. So if you guys aren't a computer nerd like I am as well, I know, surprise, I love computers too, bio, I fit the whole nerd, type. But this Dynex is the world's only accessible neuromorphic quantum computing cloud. Cloud is another keyword. People don't understand. We have so much data. AI takes up so much data. The blockchain takes up so much data that having something like with a cloud, a quantum computing cloud as well, is crazy. But this one, the cloud, doesn't necessarily do the computing, but it's a quantum computing cloud capable of solving real-world problems at scale. And I should say it does do computing. It doesn't do the storage type stuff that I know of. So we're seeing more with the blockchain. You see there's mining and wallets and options. And these companies already have products out. That's the big thing. Like what we were looking at prior with Neurable, they have products that you can buy. So there is real-world applications to these companies already. And so that's just a number of the companies that I found. There are so many other ones that have just the insane potential. I keep saying potential, but that's kind of my key word when it comes to this stock, when it comes to this ETF, is potential. There's another of other things that I also like. You see premium nickel mining, you see gold. Commodities have been doing extremely well. Gold and silver are what? I think they're at, I don't know if they're at all-time highs, but they're at like 5-year highs at least. And so they are just honing in and making this ETF of all these sectors that I personally really like. And that's why I'm invested. This may not be for you, and it's definitely not for everybody. You guys, people on my channel like the dividend side of things. And, in the future, if we see some crazy news come out with this, it could run. If we see them even eventually being uplisted to, a larger exchange, that is the goal. That's what they're moving towards. That is what, the decisions they make are going to be towards shareholder values because they are also the shareholders. And that's what I love to see. This isn't what we've seen consistently, which is like some crazy YouTuber talking about, some penny stock that is going to have a deal with Tesla and then it's going to go up 5,000% and then, it runs 50%. The YouTuber sells it and boom, the stock drops 90%. This is something that I like, that I am invested in for all the reasons that I've listed. And if you guys want more information, more resources, I'll link stuff down below. When it comes to just the financials, like I said, they are undervalued. And so just looking at a value basis, buying something undervalued is typically more my style than buying something that is overvalued. But of course, I want to know what you guys think down below. And I really appreciate 3D for reaching out to me, for answering all my questions, guys. I sat with them for over an hour between a couple of different meetings, and we just discussed the company. We discussed what they're working towards. They answered all of my questions, and they were very, very forthcoming with everything. And that is not something that you see with a company that has a lot of things to hide. And that's why 3D, that's why I bought them. But again, I bought them. Doesn't mean you should. I'm just some YouTuber. So I appreciate you guys for watching the entire video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.